Hey guys, how are we doing today?
Hi, good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Well, everyone, welcome to episode 2 of the Creative Music Mind. Today we have Karl Sweeney, who is a singer-songwriter, entertainment manager, teacher, and the music mentor at the Creative Well. So Karl, welcome. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself to get started?
I will do. Thanks for having me for a start.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm a musician. Have been my whole life. Sort of started out sort of gigging as we all do. Sort of somehow managed to forge a career out of it. Through sweat and tears like everyone else. No, I
Yes.
started off as I was working as a sound tech. I sort of built my way through the ranks, kind of doing that, working with different people and different artists over the years. And then I was based on Matthew Street in Liverpool, which is the Beatles Street, where it all began for the
Yeah.
Beatles, for anyone who's not with the Beatle history. And then that has been my life, really, has stemmed from there, and it's been crazy. And then up until this day, I'm an entertainment manager on Matthew Street for a lot of acts and artists in a lot of venues on the street, which is brilliant. And then I still gig myself, and I teach and music mentor for the Creative Well. So
I
a bit of
love it.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And how did
Try
you
and
and
keep busy.
Nadine get in? How did you and Nadine and the Creative Well get involved?
Just the strangest but most brilliant course of events, I think. You know, one of the, when you meet someone and you just sort of click instantly. It was kind of that
Definitely.
kind of, it was brilliant. We were both at the NAMM show in LA, and me and my brother, and I can't remember, a couple of other guys, were all, oh, that's right. We were all out in LA, and we were in, I think we were all watching a gig first,
I
and
think,
then Jack introduced us briefly.
yeah, I think what
Was
happened,
that it?
well, I think Jack was doing, so Jack, one of our mutual friends, he's a guitarist and he was doing an event, wasn't he, I think, and with one of the guitar houses.
Yeah, and we sort of briefly met, and then that evening we met properly. We were all sat having a drink,
I think we
and
went,
then
and then we went and we walked out onto the street, and then there was Kenny Loggins playing, and I lost you.
yeah,
I just went straight to Kenny Loggins. So
then Earth, Wind and Fire.
and Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah.
Oh yes, September.
Yeah, I was completely lost, and I just thought I've got to get to the front. So I just walked
Yeah.
didn't I? And then we kind of then met up again in the evening. Went to that we were sat around a fire pit, weren't we? And I think
Yeah.
that's when we really kind of got to know each other.
Yeah, because I think obviously I think we were just, everyone was talking about what they did, and then when you spoke about what you did and what you specialised in, the first thing I thought is, wow, I've never met anyone who specialises in that for musicians, for music. I'd never met anyone, and it's such a field that really does need some sort of support. So I was instantly sort of, yeah, I need to know what this Creative World's doing, what it's all about, and it was the same for my younger brother as well, Sean. He was exactly the same, and then we've built an amazing friendship since then.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
I
and
love that.
it's been brilliant actually. And I mean, Karl, is very modest, and he's just kind of said a few of those things that he actually does, but he's incredible at what he does, really. I mean, he's an incredible but he gigs. He just says, oh yeah, I gig, but he's literally world singing and performing live, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been for, I was actually only having this conversation today with a friend of mine. I was walking down Matthew Street, and I thought, you know what, when I was a kid, when I was 14, 15, I used to busk on that street, and all I used to think about was, one day I'm gonna have some gigs, one day I'm gonna make money in music, one day I'm gonna have a career, one day. And to look back and just think, wow, all those years, and sort of did manage to forge a career in it, and I absolutely do. I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I live for it, and that's why it's been so sad this last year. Like 1,000,001 other musicians in the world, how lost everyone's sort of felt. It's crazy not having it, and then to go back to it, I think everyone around me would say my mood and approach has definitely been happier, more stressed out and more tired, but happier.
Yes, I can understand that.
It's like, how did we fit in before, into real life? It just, it does feel quite tiring again already.
I can't believe I did this for 10, 11 years straight without, and obviously not really taking much breaks. And then I got this year break, and I've come back to it and realized that I am the most tired man on the earth. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah.
I think I don't. It's both mental and physical though. I guess it's just that whole break and not getting back into the swing of things is just like, ooh, I'm really tired.
Yeah. But I do think there's another side to that as well. I think the other side to that is that we've all sort of realized that sometimes you do need a break, no matter how much you love what you do. Sometimes you need a bit of time for yourself. And I know me and Nadine spoke about this often to do with bass playing. And I often say to Nadine, you've got to. I believe that whatever it is, you've got to have that bit of you to focus on. And so a couple of days off here and there doesn't hurt. I think a lot of people have learned that
Right.
this
Having
last
that rest
year.
period. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just as important as having the 100 mile an hour and going for it period.
Yeah, definitely.
Very interesting, isn't it, from like a well-being perspective? Like what you were used to doing before. It's almost like there is like a prep time really to it, to kind of go back to doing that. And actually,
Right.
people are finding that I'm working with, they're just jumping straight back in and they're not actually doing the lead up to it. And it's extremely tiring, isn't it? And it takes a toll not just on your physical health, but also on your mental health, on your emotional health. And a lot of my clients are becoming quite ratty, so their relationships are suffering with their friends, with their partners, maybe with other people that they work with as well already, because I think there hasn't been that lead up and people haven't prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we've still got that window of opportunity, haven't we, to actually set some good boundaries and set some good things that we need to do, like again, making sure we do have that downtime, making sure that we do have some sleep. It doesn't matter what time of the day or night it is, but making sure we get that proper rest that our bodies need to recuperate as well.
Definitely. It's kind of it's something that I've focused on a lot over the last couple of weeks, since the guys on Matthew Street have come back, and they're everyone's taking their gigs and their weekly kind of stuff and what they do to keep up with the living. And one thing I've been hearing from a lot of people is, I want to make sure I have 2 days off together. And you know what, it's true, it's right. They need to do that, and it is for that reason. Is people have just jumped straight back in. They've done 2 or 3 weeks of absolute madness here in the UK anyway, and then I think they're at a point now where they go, actually, just I think I do need a little bit of time to really edge back in a healthy way, without sort of burning yourself out too much to start with. But then at the same time, people are just so happy to be on stage. So it's, you're gonna want to be there, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know.
What's crazy too, I mean, even just getting back in, I've been out of the studio for probably almost 6 months, and I'm back in the studio now, recording some new material for some upcoming stuff after my EP. And it was like a 7-hour session, and afterwards I was like, "Ooh, that was hard to sing for 7 hours. I gotta get back into the swing."
Yeah, it is though, isn't it? You're like, and you do think, how did I do this last year? It's like, it's crazy.
I mean, your voice is a muscle like anything else in your body. When you don't work it out all the time, it's going to, I don't want to say atrophy, but it definitely is going to get a little bit less strong. So you got to get back into the full swing of things.
That is literally what mine's doing today. Talking today is quite difficult, but it is, and it's like I think that's a massive thing that people have got to really look out for now, is that they don't burn themselves out too quickly. Just take, ease back in where you can, especially in, I think, in the small part of the industry that I'm in, kind of vibe, and especially in Liverpool, is, I keep saying to the guys that I work with, we're all here to help each other out. We don't push yourself too much. If we need something, we can do it together. We can, let's ease this back in properly and in the most healthy way. Which I think is huge.
Have you got any other tips for doing that?
I think, especially, I think within any area of music that you work in, obviously, because it's like any other job, there might be parts of the job that you don't particularly enjoy. That happens. Sometimes there's some gigs you might not want to do particularly, or some things. That's, like any job, I suppose. I think you got to make sure that there's one constant that you're doing that is constantly something you love. I have this sort of, and I never really release any of it, to be fair. I have this love for writing really strange music, and I write a lot of really strange, quite out there progressive music. but that's my sanctuary, you know what I mean? That's my bit of me that no matter what happens and wherever I gig and wherever I travel to or whoever I work with or for or whatever's happening in my career, that's just that little bit that's mine that I really enjoy and I look forward to. And I think that's huge, is remembering that, because I think, you know, if you get tied up in making a living just as an everyday working musician and you're singing sort of cover gigs or etc., I think you can get tied up in doing that so much. I think you need to remember sometimes, you know, we got into music, everyone got into music to make music for a start and to play music and be weird and wonderful like everyone else is. So you've got to make sure that you're doing that as well. So you don't just get caught up in that machine and then look back and go, where's the last 10 years gone? You know, you've got to make sure you're letting your own music come out and however you express that, whether it's through words, music itself or beats or however you might do it, you got to keep it coming out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, even with, we finished recording my debut EP and they brought in a lot of other writers. And just to your point though, it's so important for me to like write my own lyrics. I am a huge stickler on that because it's like, this is my story to tell. This is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I insist on writing my own lyrics.
Yeah, and so you should. You know, that's your thing, and that is the key to your happiness in the industry, no matter where the industry may take you. If that is the one thing that makes you, and as you said, that is something that you're very particular on, then you keep doing that. And that it's things like that I think is just massive to your own happiness, just to do the things. Just don't forget why we all got in it, why we all got into it. I think that's exactly. So I try to remember that. And me growing up in a household where my dad listened to Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and things, I grew up listening to really strange rock music. So I'm going to keep doing really strange rock music in my own time and make me happy no matter what. Yeah. And I think that's a key.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it's really important, isn't it, to do what gives you joy, because I think ultimately you can't have well-being if you're not happy, and you know what you do every day isn't joyous. It doesn't give you that stick kind of, you know, view of well-being, because it's not just about being physically well or mentally well. It's about really enjoying life, isn't it? And
definitely. It's and I think with anyone who loves music, whether you play music, write music, or whether you are just a music lover, you know, anyone who really does love music will understand that it really is this medicine that just sort of exists everywhere you go in every form. And I think anyone who works in the industry, whatever side of it, I think you're going to realize just how lucky you are to be surrounded by this day in and day out, every day, and the people that you meet and the lifestyle and just every part of it is, you know, there's so much to be happy about. So make sure that it's the side of it that you want to do. And I think you'll have a great career, whatever it is.
I think aren't you? Because I think medicine, you know, the music is the best medicine for, you know, all ails. I think it really is. You know, it's in a league of its own, not just because we love music, but actually music connects us all. It's like a universal language. And I know Parker is very keen that when he's actually out there performing, he's there connecting with everyone. He's not just there to perform to people. He wants to connect with his audience. And you always maintain that you want your audience to kind of like leave feeling a lot better, don't you, than when they arrive.
When they walked in.
Being a music lover myself, on the other side of the fence, you know, going to gigs and meeting new people, connecting with friends is really important. And I think I've really realized this last year when I haven't been able to do that. And it really does keep your emotional health. It really does keep your mental health. Actually physically too, because we're up there dancing and, you know, it's like a marathon sometimes to get to the front. You know, you have to keep running, you have to keep, you know, we travel quite far to see the bands that we love, you know, so you do have to keep fit to be able to do that, you know, if you're doing that week in and week out.
It's amazing though, isn't it? It's because that's what's happening now. Is I don't know for you guys, but if you scroll through any sort of social media or you open up a however you sort of view the world, it is those things going on. There's people sort of traveling to, we might have to stay in our own sort of countries or whatever right now. I know international travel is quite hard at the moment, but within countries, you're seeing there's gigs happening, there's people, and you know, one of the happiest moments for me to look at was seeing a few friends of mine who were all sound technicians and lighting technicians. I seen a few of them that they were going back to work, so the bigger things were happening on some sort of scale, and I was like, this is we're coming somewhere now.
Step in the right
because
direction.
those guys have been like just completely forgot, you know, and without them, where you know, music on a big scale just doesn't happen.
Right.
So it's been
absolutely. It's all, isn't it, that bring the music to us that we don't necessarily
yeah.
And I think we have to remember them people, because it's kind of them people that, you know, when live music folded, affected hugely. They lost their jobs overnight.
They were the first out, and they'll be the last back. You know, it's crazy. And you know what? Some of those guys that do that I know, they're so talented at what they do. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what they do and how they do it. But so it has been great to see, you know, people like that getting back to it as well. And obviously I seen Nadine last week. You posted something that you were at a gig and we were talking about it a few days later. You know, things like that. It's just great to see that people are, you know, even yesterday to travel outside the city for myself and go and do a gig in Birmingham. It was brilliant just to be able to go and do that and to entertain different people, and it's good. It's good.
That's where I was actually, but it was in Birmingham, and it was seeing a brand new band. And you know, right at the start of COVID, they were due to go and play a gig in Texas, and so that kind of just folded. So it was really nice for them to be able to. This is their kind of first comeback gig after.
Oh, amazing!
Oh, nice.
So that was really nice to be able to see them. But obviously, they're looking to get back, you know, to some of these bigger festivals, and you know, they were great. And it was, it's good. It's kind of the younger bands, I think I feel more sorry for, because they were just about to go out. They were just about to make an album. I mean, Parker, you know this more than anybody.
Been there.
Yeah.
You know what? It seems like for so many people is that they're just on sort of right on the edge of doing everything they've been working for or dreaming about, or everything was just coming together, and then this happened.
Yeah.
But what I am noticing, and as you just said with that band, is those people where everything kind of did fall apart right on the verge of what they were doing, is they have just sort of picked up where they left off now, which is great to see.
Yeah,
which is really good to see.
Parker's had an
I mean, for me, I mean, I kind of turned it into a positive because we actually wrote the whole EP on my couch with my one producer and his acoustic guitar. So it was really we definitely turned a dark time into a lighter time for sure. But you know, it really gave us time to plan what we wanted to do and really come out of this with a bang and like have a solid plan. Like it's coming out at the end of September and just ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, you know, a lot of people have done that. You know, I've seen people have released records in the lockdown. Some of my favorite bands released records that they weren't intending on writing. It's just, you know, we've got a year. Let's write and release a record. It's been great. It's been good for that. There's been a lot of music coming out, which is brilliant.
And you've had a single as well, haven't you, Karl? That's coming up.
I did, yeah. I released one right in the middle of it. I wasn't intended on, and then I just thought, you know what, now's as good a time as any. You know, I kept thinking, we'll wait till all this blows over, but I don't know. And for the kind of song that it was as well, it was kind of written, you know, sort of about mental health and sort of dealing with things. And I thought there's that many people going through so much stuff around the world, you know, whether it was COVID related health, physical health or mental health or whatever reason, everyone was going through their own version of something. So I was like, that was a good time to release a song about that. So I did.
Yeah,
it was good. It was cool.
That brings us quite nicely into some of the work that you do here at the Creative Well, and talking about how you help people to channel some of their emotions into making and creating music. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
You know, I think the best way to start that would be probably one of the first conversations we had, Nadine, about sort of my feelings about that kind of thing. I think it comes from probably a personal space. I've never been the kind of person who can just, you know, go to a family member or anyone and just talk about how I'm feeling and just say, listen, this is going on. And some people can, and which is great. If you can just freely and openly talk and sort of get these things out, brilliant. But I always struggled with that. I really did. So for me, it was always music was the escape, and not necessarily writing lyrics, more writing music was sort of how I write a lot of weirdly a lot of the music that I've released over the years has been always quite bright and happy music, but the music that I predominantly write is really rather dark, but in a really healthy way, because it's me getting sort of, hey, if things are going a bit, it feels a bit bad, and I like to just get it out. And the way I see it, it's like taking something and just throwing it away and it's done. Then you wrote it down, you've got it out, it's out your system, it's gone. So I'm a strong believer in it. That as you said, music being a medicine. I'm a strong believer that it works both ways in that fashion. So I always think there's a chord for every emotion, and I truly believe that it has always been and will always be the only thing that has got me through any occasion in life has been music. So for me to try and work with other people and to sort of guide them on the way to how to to project how they're feeling through music is brilliant. It's something I'm really passionate about, definitely, because there's so much more than just writing lyrics or just writing a piece of music or writing. I think there's every tiny little section of everything you're feeling you can get out through every part of a composition of any type of music, whatever makes you happy or whatever makes you sad or whatever, so it isn't just, we're not just going to sit and, let's write a song together. It is more of a case of, how are you feeling? Talk about it. What's that make you play? How does that make you, which I'm gathering you'll know yourself, Parker. You were saying you're writing your EP through with your producer. How many times would you have had that conversation, telling a story about, well, I want it to be about this, or this happened, or that happened?
Yep.
And, two different chords can take the song two different ways. Two different notes can take it up, down. It's amazing.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah. I mean, I remember even when just writing this EP, it was very based on my mood that day. So what kind of song I wrote. So, and then, I mean, he would just be playing some chords, and I like that progression. And then we would just really go. And that it would remind me of a time of whatever, then we'd write the song from who that was about or whatever. So it was really cool, for sure.
Definitely. And that's what it does, which is just something I'm hugely passionate about. Me personally, it's helped me massively being able to just sort of speak through song in a way and through music and to get things out that way. So if I can help anyone else in that way, then definitely anyone, any day, anytime, of course.
Yeah.
And I think the really cool thing is too, and Nadine, you and I have talked about this, is that, I mean, even when you're in that recording session, recording that song, it's like take yourself back to that moment in your life, whether it's happy, whether it's sad, and just the inflections in your voice, and you actually lay the record down. But that's what really tells the story. Like, yes, it's the lyrics, but it's how you sing it, how you deliver it. And that's what people can relate to the most, I think.
Literally, yeah. So, like, that is it. It's that every, as I said, I see a piece of music, like every section is its own, sort of tale in itself.
Part of the story. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's one brainstorm. It's got a million things coming off it. So whether it's something to do with this beat or this chord or this progression or this one lyric or these two words put together, whatever section of it is, can be every section that's coming out of your mind, and to paint the whole picture. And whether that picture, a song that I may have wrote portrayed something for me, it might portray something completely different for you, which is just even more beautiful in itself.
Right.
Which is what music's got the ability to do and has done since the dawn of time and will do.
Continue to do forever, for eternity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so even though you love the melody, it's the lyric that really kind of resonates, isn't it? And I think, like you were saying, a good song really can be interpreted in several different ways. And I think that's the kind of key to songwriting, that other people can interpret it in their own way. It will mean something different to everybody. Yeah.
Which is just brilliant. Yeah. It's but I what we were saying about working with people on that is, I like to view it as a way to sort of deal with an issue once it's out and that thing is written. And then no matter how, say, you felt really low and down when you were doing this piece of music, listen to it again in a year's time and you'll feel totally different about it then. If anything, you might look back at a particular bad memory in life and look back and maybe smile a bit these days and go, wow, I can't believe that happened to me. Or I can't believe that, I was there, or, I can't believe how stronger that made me as a person, or
like
my
lesson
friends or
learned.
family. Yeah, and it'll even change for yourself. And then 20 years down the line, it'll be something completely different. And you'll think, why was I even bothered? I don't know. Which is the beauty of it.
Which is kind of like when I met you, you were in a very different place. And then very quickly, you're in a very different place again. And imagine being in a different place when I met you. All you could see was where you were, and it was just something. And then all of a sudden, you really, everything just shifted into a really positive place, which has been amazing as your friend to kind of see that happen. But you're right, and I think that's the key thing that we kind of want to get across to people, that you feel like this today, but you won't always feel the same way that you feel today.
Yeah,
right.
Mood isn't kind of linear, is it? It kind of just goes up and down.
At least not mine.
Yeah.
I think if anything, a lot of creatives seem to have an even crazier mood pattern for some strange reason. I think anyone who sort of has that creative thing. But my thing is use it as a positive. Life can throw some really awful things, and a lot of things in the world are really bad and can be really bad and really affect you in terrible ways. But if you've got music and it's what you do, then use it, because some of the best, greatest songs ever written, some of the greatest albums ever released have been through heartache, have been through, loss, have been through just some of the worst things, we can face as human beings. Yeah. And so I think, what? If these things in the world are going to happen, then, and these things can happen to you as an individual, and you can go through these heartaches, or these, you can lose family members, then, what? We're going to use it to create something beautiful. And, it's a memory, it's getting something out. You can feel better from it. You can look back at it. It just helps everything, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think it's when you're just so brutally honest with the emotion, the lyrics, the story, with everything, I think that's really what helps resonate the most with the listener too. And it's just like, this is what's up. Because even before this EP, I was always like, maybe we should just keep it G-rated, and I did that. But like, I have a total potty mouth behind the scenes, so that's all the time. So I was like, no, like I'm gonna say it like I would actually say it if I was talking to a friend.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's what people want, isn't it? And that is, as you're right, that's what resonates, because it's personal, and it's a lot more personal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, the whole thing's not super profane, but there's going to be an explicit mark on that album cover for sure.
I just wanted to pick up on something that you said a little while back, Karl. You said that you weren't very good at seeking help or telling anyone that you weren't okay, and I think that's a really good point to pick out on, because I think there are a lot of people that are like that. And I think really we kind of were introduced because your lovely brother, when I met him, I think I met him just before I met you, and he said, and he asked me what I did, and he said, my brother needs to talk to you. He said, I don't know what's wrong with my brother, but I know that there's something wrong with him. Please talk to him. And I think one thing I would like to say is that we should all be looking out for each other, because someone might smile, someone might say they're okay, but they may not really be okay. Right. And I think working in this industry, it's very stressful, incredibly stressful, because the unconventional lifestyle for one, and all the creativity that goes with that, and all the pressures of creating is hard. But aside from all of that, you are still human beings with human being lives as well, with other things going on with families and loved ones, etc., and your friends. So I think it's really important that when we're out at gigs, at festivals, at conventions like we were at, Karl, that we're all looking out for each other all the time. We're all trying to talk to people. Don't just it's kind of like they say, talk, and it is so difficult to talk to people, isn't it, that you don't know, for one.
Yeah.
And to kind of ask for help. But I think what's really important is just have a normal conversation. Like Sean was just like having a normal conversation, wanting to know that you weren't okay. He knew, he could see that. And obviously he's very close to you, but you know, we all work with people very close to us as well. So I just wanted to kind of say, I think what you said was really important. And I think that actually, you know, we've talked about raising mental health awareness, but let's talk about now about, you know, mental health action and doing something about that and taking the time just to listen to the people around us, not just with our ears, but with our eyes. Let's look at people. If they're saying they're okay, but they don't look okay, I would have picked up straight away that you weren't okay as well, because, you know, I can read body language, but other people may not necessarily have taken that one step further because you would have
definitely.
time. But I
He's
think
he was a he was a little angel for me. My brother back then, yeah, he was amazing. But it is just that, you know, he obviously knows me better than most people in the world. And it was him, and I believe Jack, who's Jack's my oldest and greatest friend. I believe he was the same. But those two guys, they know me so well. So I suppose no matter how much I was trying to hide that I was going through some things at the time, you know, they could pick up on it. But the beautiful thing is they both picked up on it, and Sean spoke to you. And then I remember Jack actually coming to. We were just sat in our hotel room in LA, and Jack come in and he said, I've called a friend of mine, Nadine, we're going down to see her now. And he just put me in a taxi and we went. And it was one of the best things I ever did. Because I am that person, you know, trying to talk about those things is just not something it's not my thing. But that's why now I'm so passionate about it. I think, you know, you've got to, I found what could help me, you know, and I want to try and help people in that way the best I can. But I think as Nadine said, just looking out for it is a huge thing. But it's just sort of helping someone to speak about it in whatever way they can, whatever way works for them. Music works for me. It might not be music for the next person. It might be something else, but whatever it is, because no matter who you are, you know, you're totally worth being in a better place. Definitely. Everyone does.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, you know, like with Jack, he called me, he put you in a taxi, he didn't put you in a taxi, he actually physically came. Dumped you with me. No, he didn't.
He did though, and it was that, you know, what are best friends for?
Exactly. I think, you know, he had your best interests at heart, you know, and he could see that you weren't okay. But that's what I'm talking about. It's not just mental health awareness, saying, oh yeah, you're not looking great. It's about doing something about it that's proactive. And I think that's what I'd like to encourage people to do. And it's just so hard to talk. When you say, oh, talk, you know, the first thing you do is clam up. So have normal conversations with people, get to know people.
Yeah. And I think knowing, obviously, with the creative world is great because there's a place for musicians and whatnot to go to, and the awareness that you're raising and that you guys were doing what you're doing right now and this series and everything, the awareness is huge. It is huge. But I think just one of the battles has been people have not really known where to go, you know, who to talk to. You know, I know here in the UK, I've heard countless stories about people just having a hard time trying to get the GP to sort it and whatnot, I am an absolute lover of our NHS. I will totally support it. But I understand, you know, people are really busy and there's a lot going on and there's a whole system and there's, you know, it's hard. So I think a lot of the time that puts people off as well. You know, they're trying to get some help. They ask a little bit, but then you don't really find the help quite quick. And I think the whole process is huge. So just knowing that you can just talk to, you know, anyone and it's huge. You've got to, you know, too many people keep it secret. And I think a lot of people try to hide it. It's like they feel embarrassed or something. And I know it's the oldest saying in the book that there's nothing embarrassing about talking. I know it is. And it might be the cliche, but it really isn't.
No, but it's true.
Is such a strength.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why it's important to have people who work in the music industry kind of helping people in the industry, because I think there's a natural affiliation and appreciation because it is different. It's a completely different industry to any other industry. You don't sleep at normal times, you know, you don't eat at normal times, you maybe not even eat at all, or definitely don't eat healthy.
This weekend's been one of those weekends.
Yeah.
I've never had Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I was eating McDonald's at like 2:30 in the morning last night.
Yeah.
About regaining your strength to go back out, and we're not going to regain strength by eating McDonald's, but it's about appreciation of how difficult it is for people on the road, people, not just musicians, but everyone involved, to lead a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, definitely. But I do think, there's one really cool thing I'm noticing now, and I think this is for the next generation. When I was younger, it was kind of cool to be a bit more of a rebel, and people, they were sort of drinking underage, or they tried cigarettes and things. Whereas now it's totally different, which is brilliant. It's really cool to go to the gym, and it's really cool to eat healthy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more. It's like this whole cool thing, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I really think the next generation has got something over so many previous generations in that manner, because it's huge. It is absolutely huge to live a healthier lifestyle, to eat better and drink better and water, and just the things that your mother told you when you were a kid that you never listened to her about. It turns out she was right.
Yeah. And it's interesting just having like Zoom calls with people this last year because of COVID and not being able to meet with people in person. A lot of the people now that have gone back to the gyms that I see are in the gyms talking to me. They're on the treadmill drinking their water. So
I'm drinking my water here.
Yeah, and you're drinking water. Yeah, it's really important.
It is
for your throat. Yeah,
it is, and it's just. But I think that to go back to that, it's massive to be able to talk. And the one thing that I wanted to get out is because I necessarily struggled to talk about it in that way. I know I did at the time when I was going through that kind of thing. For me, I found a way to sort of talk with music and sort of writing and sort of composing in any sort of manner. So that's something that I'd like to share for people who necessarily do struggle as well.
Yeah,
in that kind of way.
Yeah,
works for me.
Yeah. Well, it's been so lovely talking to you, Karl, as always.
Yes, Karl, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You really are amazing. And so you can find Karl at The Creative Well on all our socials. So please find him. He's also on Instagram as Karl Sweeney Music. Is that right?
Yes, karlsweeney.music, I believe.
Yeah. And so you can follow him on there. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add, Parker.
No, that's it. Karl, thank you so much for being a part of this today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. It's awesome, and the series. This is great. These are the things that need to happen more.
Yeah.
Just more talking, more awareness.
We're excited for sure.
Yeah,
it's huge.
And really grateful to you, and yeah, just really glad that our paths crossed 18 months.
Definitely. It's been brilliant for me. Absolutely brilliant.
Hey, it's been great. You're a lovely person, a lovely friend. But thank you for joining us today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I guess have a good rest of. Well, actually, you guys both have a good rest of your night. I'm just getting my day started.
Do you know what? I'm actually gonna go out for some food. I think I'm not singing tonight, so I'm gonna edge out and go to a nice restaurant or something.
Well, my clinic
starts
now, so I don't
get something good. All right, guys, I'll talk with you soon. Have a good rest of your week.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.